West Ham have missed out on Ibrahim Osman, and it is an embarrassment, and I do not care what the club say or how they want to spin it. It's an embarrassment because West Ham tried to buy this player. Look, we'll work backwards on this. So let's just assume you know the news that Brighton have agreed a deal for Osman. This is what the club have got to say. I'm just reading it now. Basically, time will tell if we've dodged a bullet or missed out on a superstar on this player. It all got too expensive for a punt. But then there was the agent thing. Okay, let's separate the agent thing for the moment. We will get to that in just a second. It almost sounds as if it became too expensive, so we didn't want to do it. It wasn't a deal for us. I would accept that. I would absolutely accept that if we hadn't agreed a deal for 18 million anyway. It wasn't too expensive. So as I understand it, Brighton have agreed an £18 million deal with some add-ons and a 10% sell-on fee. It is a punt. It really is. It's the type of punt Brighton will do. So it's not as if for what West Ham to say were to be true, it would mean that we were only prepared to go up to 5 million. Brighton have done a deal for pretty much the same amount that we were willing to pay. The agent thing is somewhat different, and it's that reason I think it's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing because West Ham tried to do the deal and couldn't do the deal. This explains why Tim Steidten was opening his mouth a day or two ago. When I did my video and I said, Steidten speaks, I said at the time, this is him trying to convey a message here. I remember me saying that let's try and read more than the words. Now, I thought I was going to be doing another video about Steidten today. I guess I sort of am, in a backwards sort of way, as I learnt more about what he'd said to Sky Germany. But it is what I thought. And that is, I think he was putting it out there, basically saying, look, I'm good at picking players. I'm good at buying players. And I can only assume he would have known. Steidten knew that today it was going to be announced with a Brighton deal. Fabrizio Romano announced it. Steidten knows Fabrizio Romano. He absolutely knew. Also, apparently, that's good. He knows someone to do with a player, clearly not the agent. Otherwise, he wouldn't have started negotiating with the wrong agent. But this was Steidten saying, I can buy players. He knew this was going to collapse. He knew the visuals of this. He knew how this was going to look. And as far as I understand it, I've been travelling. I've literally just travelled back from Harlow today. But as far as I'm aware, David Sullivan has taken an absolute hammering on social media over this deal. I do actually make Sullivan right in terms of the half of what he said. Well, let's go with a third of what he said was correct. We don't know if we've dodged a bullet or this is going to be a superstar. That would be my take anyway. That would have been it. I said at the time I was reluctant to herald this guy as the next Mohamed Kudus. However, and I do agree with that. However, if he does become a superstar, West Ham, I would almost suggest there's no coming back from it. There really isn't. What do I think has happened? As I said, I'm going to remove Moyes from this scenario completely. I don't think Moyes has had anything to do with this particular signing. What I think's happened is Steidten's identified him and Sullivan's pulled the plug. As for the agent thing, I can only assume, and this is an assumption, that Tim Steidten was negotiating with the wrong agent. I don't think anyone comes out of this with any credit. But I do think that if this does come and bite us on the arse, and when I say bite us on the arse, I mean in terms of this guy playing well, forcing his way into the Brighton team, then I do think it's going to be a bit of a problem. Now, I don't think that's definitely going to happen. Brighton signed Ansu Fati. They've yet to see the best of him. You know, this guy would have to be some player to keep him out of the team. They've also signed Valentin Barco from Argentina. What a player he is, okay? And, I mean, a lot of the times I've seen him play, has been deployed wide on the left. It's going to be interesting. So it is a punt, but it's a punt for Brighton just as much as it would have been a punt for West Ham. And again, I wouldn't mind if West Ham were thinking, okay, sort of this 18 million with the sell-on fee is too much for us for an unproven player. Okay, well fine. We'll go and either find someone that is maybe less than 15 million, unproven. Go and buy Barco, who costs 10 million, by the way. Or go and spend £30 million on a player because we know that the director of football can get that one right. I think this looks even worse considering I'm sorry. I'm actually pretty annoyed about it, really. And this just goes back to the transfer window. I know I said I wouldn't mention it, but it's hard not to, right? I have tried to put that transfer window to bed. But this is new news, right? None of us are armed with this information. They're signing the deal now. I mean, probably by the time you watch this video, the deal will be done. That's it. The deal will be done. I think he'll play out the rest of the season in Denmark, and then he'll come and start for Brighton next season. They don't mind. Brighton do not mind selling a player, Casiado. They sign him, sell him for 100 million. They don't mind investing 50 million of that at all. But West Ham can't do that, apparently. That's too much for West Ham. It's almost like West Ham are a bit beyond that. We're a bit above that. Well, I'll tell you what, we don't look above that. We don't look lofty. We don't look superior at the moment. We don't look smarter. We don't look like the smartest guy in the room. We look like the dumbest guy in the room at the moment. And now, don't get me wrong, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But we can't come back and say this looks like a wise decision. Because it's not like we're saying we're not going to invest that money because this guy is definitely going to fail. We don't know. We absolutely don't know. And I don't mind. I didn't even want to sign this guy anyway. As I keep saying, I wanted the fella at Norwich, Jonathan Rowe. But what this does do, it opens us up for embarrassment. Total and utter embarrassment. But not the wisdom as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't think we can look back and claim wisdom. Oh, if it doesn't work out, we know. No, we've been done here. We've absolutely been done. I do think the negotiating with the wrong agent, I think that is forgivable. And I'll tell you why. I think if this is Steidten's first ever role in the top job, he'll learn from that. If he was number 2 at Leverkusen and now he's number 1, he'll never repeat that mistake again. He'll be thinking, oh no, how did I do that? How was I so stupid? Maybe that's another reason why he's come out fighting. Okay. I think that is forgivable. Okay, Tim, schoolboy error there. But, look, every day's a school day and you learn. What I do think is there's almost no coming back from it. From David Sullivan. We'll deal with David Sullivan's comments about David Moyes, which is, who knows what David Moyes will do. We'll cover that in a separate video. Probably later on today. We'll cover that. But it's very much a case of, I think he feels insulated. I really do. I think he feels like, maybe he's impervious to any sort of criticism. I'm talking about Sullivan here. But I think he does deserve criticism. As he said, time will tell. Time will tell whether this was a good decision or a bad decision. But the fact that we wanted him and couldn't get the deal done makes it look bad. It really does. Honestly, it's like, I guess it's sort of like asking that girl out and then she rejects you and then you turn around and say, I wasn't interested anyway, I didn't fancy her. Everyone can see it for the bollocks that it clearly is, right? It's nonsense. And this now looks like nonsense. Because whether this player turns out to be good, bad or indifferent, West Ham wanted him. And we couldn't get the deal done. And when, given the bigger picture of the whole transfer window, we went in for an Arsenal reserve, couldn't get the deal done. We went in for a guy playing the Saudi Pro League who wasn't even registered with the squad. Couldn't get the deal done. Now we've gone in for an unproven, unknown player playing in the Danish league his first ever season, and we had the added pull of saying, hey, look, your countryman's here, your superstar, probably the guy you idolise, Mohamed Kudus, he's here. We had that extra lure. Not only could we not get the deal done, we negotiated with the wrong agent. To add to the embarrassment of that, Brighton, our rivals, who are very, very close to us in the league, positions in the league, they went and they got the deal done. And you know what the worst thing is about that? They're doing it with their reserve technical director, because the main guy, Ashworth, whatever his name is, was nicked by Newcastle. So I think it asks the question, is this embarrassing for West Ham? You can bet it is.